Hi, Joni here. In today's video I will talk about how Putin keeps humiliating Trump and how Trump keeps asking for more. Trump was re-elected over 5 months ago and he has been back in the White House for almost 3 months already. One of his big campaign promises was to end the war in Ukraine and to negotiate peace in 24 hours. He has clearly failed at that and should be called out for it. People seem to be so used to Trump lying all the time that they don't even call out his lies anymore. But in this case, people are dying because of his lies. He has made something way worse than just not keeping his promises. His actions have made it harder to reach peace even in the future. A few days ago, Russian strikes on civilians in the city of Sumy killed over 30 and injured over 100. Russia did it on purpose to kill as many civilians as possible, and this was not the first time. This was one more humiliation for Donald Trump, and one that cost Ukrainian lives. And once again, instead of calling Russia out, Donald Trump was a coward and just made excuses for Russia. He said that Russia made a mistake, but it wasn't one. In the 3 months Donald Trump has been back as the President of the United States, he has not even been able to secure a partial ceasefire. Every time he has said something optimistic about a ceasefire, Russia has broken it right away. And Russia's strikes on Ukraine and its civilians have actually increased during the time that Trump has been back in the White House. No one respects Trump, especially not Russia and China. They see him as weak. Ukraine accepted an unconditional ceasefire. And yet Trump keeps criticizing and pressuring Ukraine. He keeps humiliating Zelensky and saying that Ukraine is the problem, when in reality everyone knows that Russia is the problem. Russia didn't accept any of Trump's ceasefire proposals and keeps bombing Ukraine, and Trump hasn't done anything about that. It's as if Trump was asking for more humiliations. He has turned into a joke on the international stage, and the cuts he's doing on the US military are not gonna help on that. He's weakening American soft power and hard power at the same time. And Trump doesn't like to be humiliated, so he chooses to ignore Russia's moves and to blame Ukraine instead. He is so weak and pathetic. Russia doesn't respect him at all, and also doesn't fear him. And the same goes for China. And that explains why China doesn't back down when being threatened by Trump. They know that he's all about looks and talk, and that he always bends at the end when being confronted with real power. And his behavior on Ukraine is a perfect example of that. He chooses to blame the victim when being humiliated by the aggressor, instead of addressing the real issue, which is Russia invading Ukraine. Trump's negotiation tactic in Ukraine is the wrong one. Russia is the active side in this war, as Russia is the side that started it, but it's also the side that is invading. To stop the war, you need to make Russia stop its invasion, and that can only happen with pressure. You need to give Putin an incentive to stop. Right now, Putin is convinced that he will outlast the West, and that Russia's situation at the front will end up improving over time. He also knows that Trump is desperate to make a deal. And because of all these things, Putin is convinced that he needs to play time, and that Russia will get a better deal in 6, 12 or 18 months compared to the deal it could get now. The only way to get peace in Ukraine is to change Putin's perception of the future, and that needs to be done with pressure and threats. Nothing else will work. We need to make long-term commitments of military aid to Ukraine, and we need to threaten Russia with even more sanctions and even more aid to Ukraine. Short and medium-term military aid to Ukraine won't change Putin's perception. We need to make Putin understand that Ukraine will get weapons for as long as needed, and talk won't be enough for that. We need long commitments, because otherwise Putin will try to play time against us. Trump needs to use the carrot and stick method. Until now he has only pressured Ukraine, and claimed that Ukraine is the problem, even if Ukraine actually accepted his unconditional ceasefire proposal. He has still only pressured Ukraine, and he even cut aid to Ukraine for a while. He also hasn't committed any new military aid to Ukraine, and just hasn't pressured Russia in any way. That tactic won't work. Trump is projecting so much weakness that it's just hard to believe. He's a horrible negotiator. Even my dog would probably be better at negotiating than him. And his envoy Witkoff is even worse. A trader working for Russia could not be as pro-Russian as Witkoff because it would be too obvious. Witkoff is an idiot, and also a horrible human being. Almost any adult acting in good faith would do a better job than him. He is extremely unprofessional and believes the Kremlin's lies. He believes anything Putin tells him, and Iran will also have a good time negotiating with him. He's not a real negotiator. He's just a dishonest low IQ businessman. He's the last person that should negotiate anything on a state level. Russia and Iran could not dream of an easier team to negotiate with. Trump and Witkoff really seem to act in the Kremlin's interest. And because of their failures and stupid moves, we are actually further away from peace now than before the negotiations started. And many Trump supporters actually believe that negotiating just for the sake of negotiating is already a good thing. But it's not true. A failed negotiation is often worse than no negotiation at all. And if this negotiation fails, it will be much harder to negotiate peace later on. Trump is using some cards that he won't have in the future anymore if he uses them now. He really needs to change his tactic. What do you think? Do you think that Russia will end up agreeing to some ceasefire at some point to save Trump's image? How long do you think that Russia will be able to humiliate Trump without him doing anything about it? How long will Trump get away with trying to blame Ukraine for it? Is Trump a Russian asset? Write your thoughts in the comments. That was it for today's video. I hope that you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you.